Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Garcia and this is Fireside Yankees, and today we're beginning our free agent profile series. We're going to be doing videos on each of the top free agents, both free agents on the major league side, NPB free agents, all of that and more right here on Fireside Yankees. We're going to talk about what they could provide to the Yankees, if they're a good fit for the team or not, and what a contract projection would look like, giving all of you guys the information you need to make informed decisions on who you think the Yankees should sign this upcoming winter. If you enjoy these kinds of videos and these kinds of breakdowns, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to check out Fireside Yankees on all of your favorite social media platforms. Without further ado, let's just get straight into today's video, because this one is on Kyle Tucker, who is the top free agent of the 2026 class. He's expected to get the largest contract in this group, and we're going to break down why he could be a really good fit for the Yankees. Kyle Tucker's calling card on this market is his offensive capabilities. He is someone who provides a very well-rounded approach, and this past season, we saw him put up a 136 WRC plus with 22 home runs in his only year with the Cubs. He could return to the Cubs, but if he doesn't, I think that teams like the Yankees are going to be able to see an improvement in offense, because Wrigley Field is a poor place for left-handed hitters to pull their fly balls to right field. It's not just the wind, it's also that deep right field that takes away a lot of home runs that would be home runs at Yankee Stadium. Kyle Tucker is a consistently great hitter who grades out as above average in contact rate, gain power, and walk rate. If you look at his numbers since 2021, his highest strikeout rate is 15.9%, and over that time span, he has just a 15% strikeout rate, which is lower than hitters such as Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Jose Altuve, and Tommy Edman, guys who are known for their bat-to-ball abilities and specialize in trying to make contact and make things happen. Tucker's ability to strike out or not strike out is something that's incredibly valuable for any team going to the postseason, because he has the power to also back that up and make sure that pitchers aren't just filling the zone against him. If you look at his walk rate over that span, it's 12%, which is also in a pretty elite class. It's ahead of hitters such as Yordan Alvarez and other guys like Matt Chapman and William Contreras, who are pretty good offensive players. If you also want to look at strikeout to walk rate, which I believe is a very important stat when we talk about offensive production, because if you walk a lot and you don't strike out a lot, you're probably going to be an effective hitter at the big league level. His strikeout to walk rate is 9th in all of baseball since 2021, and since 2023, it's inside the top 5. This is all while being a pretty good power hitter. His isolated power, which measures raw power output, is above 200, and it is ahead of guys like Jose Ramirez, Corey Seager, Brent Rooker, Corbin Carroll, and Brandon Lowe, who are very noted power hitters who can hit 30-plus home runs in any given year. Kyle Tucker's ability to blend all of these skills together makes him such a valuable player on the market. It makes him someone that I think the Yankees should be all over from the left-handed side. The idea of putting someone who gets on base, makes a ton of contact, and can hit for power in front of Aaron Judge is a very attractive idea, and if you have Kyle Tucker hitting first, Aaron Judge hitting second, and Ben Rice, another player who walks a lot and doesn't strike out a lot while having good power, you put him third, you're going to have a really darn good offense, and I think you're going to be in a situation where you're able to build out this lineup in a way that can generate tons of runs without inflating your strikeout rate. A lot of Yankee fans have been very upset with the Yankees' strikeout rates over the last few years, and while I understand that Cody Bellinger also provides good bat-to-ball abilities, Bellinger doesn't provide it with the ability to work walks as well. A part of his game is being able to spoil pitches out of zone, and that does mean he's going to chase and swing at pitches he probably shouldn't swing at. But in the case of Kyle Tucker, he's going to be able to fight in an at-bat, work a deep count, and also take his walks at the same time. The Yankees were 6th in strikeout rate this year in a negative way, and while I don't think striking out a lot automatically makes you a bad offense or a bad baseball team, I do believe that the Yankees shouldn't be looking at Kyle Tucker as someone who's going to worsen those issues. He's going to make those issues better for the Yankees. Furthermore, when we talk about Kyle Tucker's offense, he is a better base runner than people give him credit for. He has had 25 or more stolen bases in 3 of the last 4 seasons, with the year he didn't steal 25 bases being 2024, where he fouled the ball off his shin and missed a good chunk of the year, only playing 78 games. The ability to run the bases well, to get on base, to hit for power, to hit for a good average, these are all things that are very valuable if you're the New York Yankees and if you're any team on the market looking to sign Kyle Tucker and get a big boost in your offense. If you look at players over the last 3 years and you look at things like batting average, on base percentage, percentage, and slugging percentage, Kyle Tucker finds himself near the top of the league in all three regards. His batting average of 277 is above guys such as Steven Kwan, as I mentioned earlier. It's above guys like William Contreras. It's above guys like Jeremy Pena, Juan Soto, Jurickson Profar, Julio Rodriguez. If you look at on-base percentage, Kyle Tucker's on-base percentage of 380 is above guys like Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bryce Harper, Corey Seager, and Mookie Betts. And if you look at slugging percentage, where he's at a 511, he's not as elite. He's outside of the top 10 in this regard. He's 12th, but he's above guys like Kyle Schwarber, Marcell Ozuna, and Jose Ramirez. So I say it all to note that he is a very well-rounded hitter who's going to stat the stuff sheet in both the average, on-base, and slugging regard. Only a few hitters in the sport can really say that. It's Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Yordan Alvarez, Juan Soto, Corey Seager, Ronald Acuna Jr., Bobby Witt Jr. It's those kinds of players who have these very well-rounded and even-keeled slash lines that allow them to be threats in all facets of the game. And of course, Tucker is a positive base runner. He has 7.5 base running runs over that 3-year window. That is inside the top 40 for position players over that stretch. So Kyle Tucker is an offensive machine, and teams should look at him as someone who's going to galvanize their offense, not be a guy who's going to slow them down or is going to take away their athleticism, take away their ability to create run on the bases, or slow down their ability to hit for average, get on base, or hit for power. He's everything you need in an offensive player. He's going to be a plus in every category. There really isn't a knock on his game offensively that I could even think of. His bat speed may not be as fast as guys like Aaron Judge, but he's got really good bat-to-ball abilities, and he knows how to pull the ball in the air. I think that his bat speed is in a perfectly fine situation. Any knock you could have on his game is probably rooted in a misconception or on a false pretense. There's just nothing you can knock in his game offensively. He hits the ball in the air a lot. I don't say this in a way to completely overlook any flaws he has in his game. We're going to get to that with his defense in a bit, and we're going to talk about his longevity a little bit. But offensively, he is so perfect for the Yankees. A left-handed hitter in front of Aaron Judge, who has all of those skills. It's exactly what you want if you're the New York Yankees. A high on-base percentage guy who runs the bases well and can steal 25 bases. He's averaged 22 steals per year in each of the last 3 years, and he's got a 380 on base. I truly don't see how any fan could look at him and not say, this guy would make our offense considerably better and give us a chance to win tons of baseball games in 2026 because of it. Now, defensively, this is where there are some real concerns, because Kyle Tucker isn't going to come from right field in Wrigley to right field at Yankee Stadium, an easier right field to play than the one we see in Wrigley Field, but rather he's going to be going from right field in Wrigley to left field in Yankee Stadium if the Yankees were to sign him. That brings some pretty fair concerns. Kyle Tucker's defensive production has decreased over the last few years. This past season, he had -2 outs above average, 0 fielding run value, and -1 defensive run saved. The year prior, it was +7 defensive run saved, +2 outs above average, +2 fielding run value. But the year before that, it was 2 defensive runs saved, -4 outs above average, and -4 fielding run value. So that means over the last 3 seasons, Kyle Tucker has produced 8 defensive runs saved, -5 outs above average, and -2 fielding run value. Again, I think right field in Houston and right field in Wrigley are tougher than left field at those ballparks, but you could make a real argument that left field at Yankee Stadium is tougher than either positions. I would sit here and say that Wrigley Field right field is very difficult, and people don't give enough credit for how tough of an adjustment that can be. Cody Bellinger had some defensive struggles in the outfield out in Wrigley because the wind is tough. You have a very spacious outfield and a very odd outfield, so I'm particularly not going to hold that against Tucker, but I do think that 2023 season, and of course the declining sprint speed, does raise some concerns about how his outfield defense will translate to left field. I do believe it's still important to note that a bad defensive left fielder who can hit the way Kyle Tucker does is going to be a really good baseball player, and that if he's not able to play left field at a high level, in 2 years, Giancarlo Stanton will hit the free agent market, and the Yankees will have the DH spot opened up. That can be Aaron Judge, Tucker can move to right field, and the Yankees can find themselves in a situation where they're putting Tucker in the easiest right field he's played in his entire career. I say it all to say that defense is a concern. It is not good that Kyle Tucker is not a great defensive right fielder at this point in his career, and not the player he was defensively earlier in his career, where he was faster, more mobile, and played better defense. But with that being said, it shouldn't stop the Yankees from signing him, because not great defense in left field for 2 years shouldn't be a thing that limits them from bringing in Tucker. If Jason Dominguez can play left field, so can Kyle Tucker. And if you need to add a center fielder, that's totally fine, but Kyle Tucker's defense shouldn't be a reason why the Yankees don't sign him. If you want to do comparative analysis here with him and Cody Bellinger, Kyle Tucker has produced more base running value, he's stolen more bases, he's hit for a higher average, he has a higher on base percentage, he has a higher slugging percentage, he has a higher OPS, he has a higher OPS plus, and he has more wins above replacement over that 3-year window, and he's done it in fewer games played. That is the player you should bring in offensively. Even if there is a massive defensive gap, that defensive gap isn't going to be made up for by the offense, or that defensive gap isn't going to overlook the offensive gap you have here with these two players. These are two really good baseball players, and Kyle Tucker is a player who you could argue on a per dollar basis may not be as worth it for the Yankees, or if they have to add a center fielder, maybe it's not worth it for the Yankees. It could stop them from getting a starter or reliever, whatever it may be. But when we're talking about who the top ranked free agent is on this market and who the better player is, we're talking about the guy with the better OPS, the better wins above replacement, the better on base percentage, the better average, the better slug, the better base running value. Defense to me matters, but it doesn't matter to the point in which I'm excluding all of those things, and that's why we have metrics like wins above replacement to help us understand what kind of players, or whether we should value someone's defense over their offense or their offense over their defense. Wins above replacement allows us to do that kind of comparative analysis. Now, again, wins above replacement isn't perfect. It is an estimate at the end of the day. It has a margin of error that swings one win in either direction. But again, you look at the last 3 years, you look at it on a per game basis. Kyle Tucker has been the far superior player to Cody Bellinger, and that's why he's the top free agent on this market. Now, for his contract prediction, I think he ends up getting 10 years, $385 million. I think the $400 million number is one I'm growing more skeptical of as we kind of see the teams that's going to be in on him. If the Dodgers aren't really that in on him, if we don't see the Phillies or the Yankees show a lot of interest, there's not going to be a team that's going to offer him $400 million just because those teams may not. The Cubs, they don't see him in. I think at the end of the day, Tucker's market's going to be interesting. I think this could be an opportunity for a team to grab a star at a price point that's going to be more than fair. I think somebody's going to be very happy to sign Kyle Tucker, and I hope that team ends up being the New York Yankees, because again, he is the top free agent on this board. I think he's a game changer for this offense. It gives him someone, again, who can walk more than he strikes out potentially. Put that guy in front of Aaron Judge. Put Aaron Judge in front of Ben Rice. Put Giancarlo Stanton behind Ben Rice and Jazz right after that, and you've got this disgusting 1 through 5 that might end up carrying the offense and being one of the best offenses in the league. You've got a nucleus that can help you hit for the next few years. You got Tucker at 29. You're going to have him for the remainder of his prime. You're going to have Tucker, Rice, and Judge for 3 or 4 years, potentially still providing tons of offensive value, depending on how long Judge can keep this going up for. Rice, still very young. I just think this is the exact kind of fit for the Yankees. And when you haven't won a World Series with Aaron Judge, you need to be aggressive. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you think 10 years, $385 million is fair for Kyle Tucker? Do you enjoy these free agent profile videos? Again, we really appreciate your continued support right here on Fireside Yankees. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to check out Fireside Yankees and get updates and notifications on our next uploads. It also helps support the channel. And comment what you think Kyle Tucker is worth and where you think he ends up going. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.
Perfect.